Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to flight 705 on this lovely Monday morning to Tasmania. It's currently at balmy 6 degrees Celsius. I've got no idea where my big warm wintry scarf is, but I'm wearing a smaller warm wintry scarf. Doing the pre-takeoff checks. Lip balm. Check. Find your seat. My seat numbers are allocated. Also, I hope you brought your own beverages, snacks, seatbelts, and what's another useless thing again? Oh, life jackets. Yo! Cement. Shoes. G'day, Groover. Hi, Clancy. How are you? Broom, broom, pip, pip. We're away. Oh. Far out, Brussels sprout. Monday morning. After 2 weeks of awesome fun, but I need a week to recover. At least. Just removing my scarf. I've got so many layers on because it's I think we're only going to get to like 11 today, which is not very tropical. She loves the title. Well, I am all mofo'd out. I'm dark mofo'd out. I mean, I am absolutely filled to the brim with goodness and happy memories. Oh, you've got a stinking day by the sounds of it. 105 Fahrenheit compared to 6 degrees Celsius. Although it is the winter solstice, so on the 21st, the darkest day of the year. I love living in a place where we have all 4 seasons, because I don't think they last that long, really. Like, you've basically just got to put up with 3 months and then the next season comes along. 3 months flies by these days. I've lived in places where you're either in an endless summer, which I tire of that. I don't know why that's the new point where I black out, but anyway. I mean, not me, the reception. Hey, Scout. Hi, Scott. It's repugnantly hot today. Sounds it. I mean, it's only 6 degrees, but, I've had a warm house and then jumped into a hot shower and then got dressed and pretty snug as a bug. But the building we work in town historically was built to be like a food store for perishable goods and meats, and it's still got up on top of the building what the merchant was originally back in the 1800s, and it was to store fresh produce. So they built it to be like a refrigerator. I mean, it's got the Hobart rivulet running underneath it, which is essentially, the Hobart rivulet is water from the mountain that does get snow on it in winter. So that obviously was part of the purpose of putting it there. The design, I mean, have a shitload of freezing cold water running below. That's a great way to keep a building cold. So yeah, impressive skills and knowledge back in the 1800s about how to build cold rooms, essentially, but not intended to keep humans chilled. And yet it does very well at that too. So yeah, we have to sort of dress like we might be going up the mountain at some point just to be warm in the office. But then if you have to go to another building for a meeting or something, You sit there absolutely sweating, or it's layer on, layer up all day. But because our offices are so cold, we've actually got electric throw rugs. We all sit like little grannies at our desks with these electric throw rugs, which are divine. I just wish we'd had them for like the last 2 years, not the last 2 weeks. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for them, but what a difference they are making. It's really hard to miss partly frozen, right? So anyway, I'm all dark mofo'd out. I've had a blast. I didn't end up. I was going to go for like a walk one night and take you guys on a stroll around Dart Park and stand under Spectra. My thumbnail is actually of looking across to Hobart and Spectra from where I live. It's a pretty beautiful photo, but it just shows how impressive Spectra is too. But the 2 nights that I didn't have anything on, one night it was absolutely bucketing down, and I was like, well, there's absolutely no point. And the other night, I just had to come home and flake. Like, I was exhausted. It was my recharge night. Hey, Joman. But last night was the burning of the Ogga Ogga, which is like this. This year it was a platypus. This huge platypus that you go there and you write your woes down and your troubles, and they all get put in this gigantic platypus and get dragged through the city and ignited. I mean, it's not a real platypus before you all freak out. It's a different shape every year. Pardon me. And this year it was a giant platypus. And then they have like fifth music and dance music and shit afterwards. So I went to the burning and then I drove away watching the flames shooting up into the sky, including my woes. And yeah, the party ended. What are my thoughts on Katie Gallagher's? I don't even know who Katie Gallagher is. So I have absolutely no thoughts. Who's Katie Gallagher? Is she the lesser known sister of the Gallagher brothers who formed the band Oasis? I've got no idea who you're talking about. I've actually been in a state of reconnecting with faces of people I love for the last couple of weeks and going to a mountain of things that inspire all the senses and leave you questioning everything. And but I actually don't know who Katie Gallagher is. So I mean, I only found out yesterday what Juneteenth is. Yeah, I loved Oasis. Mind you, I've seen Noel Gallagher at Blues Fest twice with his band. I think it's Noel Gallagher and the Flying Birds, something like that. And I didn't expect him to play any Oasis tracks. And it was a classic because he was playing the Flying, and then he said, this next one goes out to all the Oasis fans in the crowd. And everyone was like, yeah. And then he did another Flying Birds song, which was still really lovely. We were all like, oh, that was so sweet. And then it started, and it was Oasis track after Oasis track. And I was watching them with my niece, Jemima, and Wonderwall has become like our song. I saw Liam Gallagher and thought he was an absolute knob, but I love Noel. Noel was, I mean, a lot of people say Noel's a knob too, but Noel was so generous and so chatty with us. Both times I saw him, like he really engaged with the audience, and you wouldn't have known that Liam wasn't with them when they did the Oasis stuff at all. Like, it was bloody awesome though. Yeah, who the fuck is Katie Gallagher? I mean, allegedly she's a liar, but I haven't got any more info unless, I mean, you may have said something, Joe, and I can't read chat at the moment because I'm cruising down the highway now. But that's part of my heading too. Like, I'm all mofoed out. You know what I'm mofoed out of too? I mean, you guys, I don't think are that intertwined with the I don't even know what to call the community. Like, as a precursor to what I'm about to say, I love reacting to people who are Fruit Loops. I think it's hilarious. But you only need to react to them once or twice, you know. And I also like reacting to people that are potentially going to interfere with the cause of justice and calling out their bullshit. But again, gold nugget where they're really, really misbehaving and could potentially interfere with the cause of justice. Noel's the darker haired one. Where was I? This truck up the front's doing 20 k's under the speed. I'm not complaining, I'm happy, but it always looks like we're going way faster than we are. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, I don't mind calling out people that I think are, you know, in my Stop the Madness sort of series of look at these people and how social media is impacting trials and so on. But wait for that golden nugget when they're at their most reprehensible. But then I'm looking all over the place and I'm researching cases, and I can't believe how much prep I've done for lives that for whatever reason, like my computer, laptop blowing up, or a 2-week winter festival getting in the way of a good time. Because even yesterday I didn't do any meal prepping because I'm working in town today and then I'm working at home tomorrow. So there was no need to do meal prep. I've got stuff out of the freezer to have for lunch today, and I'll do a bit of cooking later in the week. But and also I was exhausted. So the last thing you feel like doing is going live on YouTube when you're living a full life. Like, trust me, we're about to go into the depths of winter. I don't know what's happening with my house still, with the insurance. So they messaged me on Friday to say it's still pending. I mean, it's only, like friggin' June. I lodged my claim in March, but that's okay. I haven't fallen through the bathroom floor yet down into my carport stark naked and wet or anything, so that's a blessing. There's a Jessica in chat. Hi, Jessica. Who's Jessica? Jessica's new. Hello. But oh yeah, so I'm all dark mofoed out, but I'm also all mofoed out. Like, I just feel that the channels that claim they're calling out irresponsible behaviour, but they're just calling out the same person over and over and over again, and not just calling out the irresponsible bullshit they're spinning, but also critiquing every aspect of their appearance and their homes. And I mean, they're mofos too. I'm all mofoed out by them as well. I've just unsubscribed to all of the channels that have just grown exponentially by literally just existing to critique Bullhorn Betty within an inch of her life. Like at some point, don't you just go, look, a little bit batshit, fun to check out once or twice, but time to move on. I mean, they're not going to because they're making a lot of money, and there's thousands of people that love joining in on that stuff. But why do people get bored with it? Like, it's like watching the same episode of a TV show over and over and over again. At what point do you like go, okay, there's no new information, there's no new one-liners. I've heard all of this before on 58,000 different channels. Why are people just rolling up every day to listen to people critiquing someone who's fucking mad as a cut snake, has interfered with some cases by being a bloody pest out in the street? Isn't it stunning, that Spectra from my place? Well, not my place, it's from Red Ochre Beach, but from Dodgers Ferry anyway. Isn't it gorgeous looking across at Hobart, and makes you realise how powerful it is. But I didn't take a lot of photos or anything. I mean, I just wanted to be present with the people that I was spending time with and not be sort of like, hey, great to see ya. Now I'm just going to run around and film things, and I'm going to film you guys too, because we're not fans of that here in Australia for the most part. But also, I wanted to be present with the people I was with. I saw some faces I haven't seen for like a few years, and it's just been so beautiful. I still don't know who you're talking about though, Joman. City's behind, but I'm still trying to work out who the freak Katie Gallagher is. And she's a liar, allegedly. But yeah, so it's like, who was it who says madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? It kind of sums up the YouTube people that just want to listen to 50,000 creators all pulling Bullhorn Betty to pieces. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan, and she's fucking easy to pull apart. I've done it too. But not every day. And they, you know, there seems to be this sort of delineation in the community that, you know, it's a them and us thing. There's the good guys and the bad guys. So put Bullhorn Betty right in the bad guy basket. And then there's all these different channels and creators, and I use that term very loosely. Like, it's, when I react to someone, I don't consider myself a creator. I'm a reactor. I'm a nuclear reactor. But yeah, I guess the good guys are the people that are calling it out. But are they really? When they're just friggin' pulling someone to pieces day in, day out for hours and hours and hours on end. And some of them even throwing additional. Like, there's, Bullhorn Betty does enough stupid shit on her own. You don't need to make stuff up to make her look bad. She's pretty good at making herself look bad. Yeah, but MGL's gone, like, and again, do you want to like watch channels that just take the piss out of her for like years on end? And but don't get me wrong, I think that, yeah, there's I mean, the histrionics of Molly give you way more things to talk about. But it just seems so boring and surprising that literally thousands of people just roll up and spend the entire time in these lives. And there's all these new channels that are growing because they've worked out making fun of Bourbon Betty is lucrative. So the audiences have got even more channels to go and watch. And then you've got a panel like on Queen Bee's channel who are so scathing with reasons about Bourbon Betty that they think is, a fair critique of what it's doing. For example, counting that she's done over 100 lives on Idaho 4 Brian Koberger. But then if you look at Queen Bee's channel, she's done over 100 lives about Bourbon Betty. What's the fucking difference? Like, what's the difference? I love the smell of hypocrisy in the morning. I'm on the wrong channel to be talking about this stuff. I'm talking about crimey people. Well, are they? Do any of them do true crime anymore? Did any of them ever really do it? I don't know. I mean, Bourbon Betty spending 20 minutes in a bush complaining about the heat and stickers on her yoga pants and calling out a child's name once does not equate to actively participating in the search for a missing child, in my opinion. But in her view, she was a huge part of the search and, contributed as much as everybody else did in finding that little JJ boy. We should get the temperature's dropped 1 degree, everybody. It's only 5 degrees Celsius now. Good thing I brought my gloves and my beanie. And I'm hoping my scarf is hanging on the back of my office door, because if it's not, I have lost the warmest scarf in the world. It's like a huge, long Doctor Who, Tom Baker style scarf that is so warm. Much bigger than his, though, like wider. And not stripy, but long, like his. There were a few hilarious creators saying about AD. Yeah, but I mean, when I've taken the piss out of AD, which I have, especially when he was on Small and took us all to the bathroom with him, his supporters are fanatical and really angry people. Like, the nastiest comments on my channel have been about him, or about me critiquing him. And I'm so upset that my laptop blew up because so many people dirty delete their shitty comments, because I call out the shitty comments. I try to be like James Blunt and write something hilarious in response, and they dirty delete. And I had all these screenshots, and I'd started putting together a little series of videos just to show everyone the sort of anger that's out there and how protective people are of the creators they adore. Like, they just can't accept that occasionally the creators they adore might do or say something shitty, you know? And honestly, some of the angry comments that have been put on my channel, and I had this huge folder of all these screenshots, and I was going to showcase their delightful attitudes. But fuck you, if you put shitty comments under my videos, I'm going to let everybody see them and see my responses. So, like, I had one woman who went off her fucking head at me. And the way she went off her head at me, because I was talking about how the root checks are suing AD, and I don't know the evidence yet. Like, I'm going to follow that particular matter and see what comes out in the wash. But I did a live about that, saying how I can't read chat, guys, at the moment either, so sorry if you're saying anything of any note. It's pretty busy and dangerous for me to do that, just in case anyone's feeling I'm ignoring them. And there's a lot of traffic. But as far as a lawsuit goes, I think it's important there are lawsuits, because we need precedents about people's behaviour on social media and what they are and aren't going to be held accountable for, and so on. But this woman spoke to me like it was my lawsuit. Show me one bit of evidence that AD is a harasser. I'll wait. And I'm thinking, you fucking idiot. Did you even listen to a second of my live? I was literally talking about the way we need people to sue so that we get some case law amendments and some precedents set so that everybody knows what this social media playing field limitations are, like, and what ramifications there will be for people if they act reprehensibly on social media platforms. Like, that's exciting to me. As a friggin' lawyer, that's like the fire in the belly stuff for us. Bring it on. Because it's been spinning out of control, and there have been, myriad creators that have done and said the most horrible stuff, and they need to be held to account. But this woman was lashing out at me as if it was my lawsuit and defending AD to the nth degree. Now, it might come out in court that he hasn't done anything that breaches any law at the moment. Who fucking knows? But there might be a decision that leads to some legislative changes. There might be something in the judgment. Oh, we've got snow on the mountain. No wonder it's fucking cold. And that to me is what I'm waiting for. But I said to this lady, I was like, you do realise this isn't my lawsuit? Like, I'm waiting for the evidence to come out and the judgment. And, like, if you've got an issue with the Ruchek suing AD, well, maybe you should wait too and see what comes out. But she came back at me a second time. He hasn't harassed anybody. Well, do you know the legal definition of harassment in the UK? Because that's part of what they're going to be looking at, lady. And I don't know if he ticks all the boxes, but the whole point of it going to court is that we're going to know what the boundaries are, what the definitions are, which creators are going too far. That's why getting some lawsuits happening is a good thing. I'm bummed that I've lost all the screenshots that I had been saving of all of these AD fanatics, because they are something else. It's a very risky business to take on creators like AD, even just to talk about them being sued, because his supporters are intense. and nasty. And even if you respond to their revolting vitriol in a mild-mannered way, they are still like aggressive and accusatory, and it's fucking bizarre. And then there's other people that will say something really scathing, and I'll be like, look, I'm really keen to have a chat with you about this. You know, like, can you maybe tone down the anger and let's have a grown-up conversation? And they disappear. Or they tell me their version of a case that they believe is 100% accurate. Kylie Rodney's a classic example. They rip whatever I may have said to shreds. They put what they believe is the truth. Well, no, they don't put what they believe is the truth. They just rip me to shreds. And then I go, look, okay, you've raised some really interesting points. So what's your theory on what happened? And then they go silent. They're not prepared to share their theory with me. They're quite happy to tell me reporting on the facts is wrong, or they've elaborated on the facts that I've reported on, which I always find pretty interesting. I mean, people will speculate about all kinds of shit, but people that speculate using the facts and coming in with a completely different perspective, I find that shit really interesting. I do. But then offer your theory then. Like, you've got all these alternative ways of looking at stuff. So what do you think happened then? And then they don't respond. They just want to tell me I'm a prick. And I want to listen to different points of view and consider different theories based on the facts. I'm up for that. Or they come flying into your chat and they don't say hi to anyone or get a feel for this community, which is so bloody sweet and funny, and you guys are also kind and generous with your time and welcoming of new people. And they just come in with all guns blazing and drop some really snarky comment. Like, imagine rocking up to somebody's home to like a cocktail party and you just barge in and start yelling at people. That's basically what it is. I'm probably more open to hearing out other people's opinions and perspectives as long as they're fact based. I'm not interested in the fucking Fruit Loops that ignore the facts and come out with all this stuff. Like, there's no point talking to them because they're right and everyone else is wrong. And then you ask for some facts to back up their opinion and they can't. Well, what's the point in even engaging with them? But the ones that are sort of critical thinkers and thinking outside the box and questioning stuff and going, hey, what if this is actually what happened? Bring those people in. They're the people I want to chat to. Everyone knows I love playing devil's avocado. I'm not going to dismiss someone else who plays devil's avocado too. Like, bring it on. We've all got different life experiences and we're all different ages and different geographies and different genders and all sorts of shit that all impact the way we look at the world. But yeah, take on AD's crowd at your own peril. They are feral. My little Sleuths and Smooth Criminals channel that's got like 650 subscribers, you'd think I was eating his firstborn child alive in front of them all, the way they speak to me. Is it Ruthie in chat? Hello, Ruth. All the street lights just got turned off, so Hobart is officially waking up. Good morning, Hobart. Monday morning, snow on the mountain, and you guys are all scorching from what I can gather. We have had some amazing weather though. I mean, although Saturday I went to a production in the middle of the day, like it was a matinee. I went with my cousin and her boyfriend, and Saturday had the most insane wind, but it was a really warm day. I'll hear anyone's viewpoint out as long as they can present it sanely. Yeah. Well, I don't mind if they present it insanely as long as it's got some, grounds to it. Well, as you know, that I'm a fan of people getting to the point. Mind you, I'm such a bloody rambler at times. Like, one of my weaknesses is I'm definitely not good at brevity. Brevity is not a strength of mine. Lack of brevity is a weakness of mine. But I'll also happily reduce a 600-page contract to a one-page contract. I can be a brutal plain English editor of other people's work. You want some of our snow? I think it. Oh no, it's not the first snow of the winter, but I think it's the first one that has any substance to it. I don't know because I don't come into town every day, so I think we have woken up to snow before, but it was one of those light snowfalls that had melted by the time the sun came out. Well, when the sun came out, it just disappeared. This looks like there's a bit of substance to it. So I'm definitely hoping my warm, yummy scarf is at the office. I'll be gutted if I've lost that scarf. That scarf is it's like wearing a blanket. So warm. I've got a different scarf with me just in case it's not at the office. And I've got a beanie. And I've got, actually, oh, I know where it is. It's on, damn it. It's on my spare room bed. Because you just, Dark Mofo, you're just constantly driving around with every warm, because you're wandering the streets of Hobart at night in winter. Brevity can be overrated. Ruth, you've been killing plants. You're good at that. Take pride in your achievements. Damn it, the scarf's on my, and so's the other beanie that I did bring a different beanie because I couldn't find my pink one. I've got my navy blue one, but yeah, Dark Mofo, you're basically out and about roaming the streets and you've got every warm jacket, scarf, beanie, gloves, whatever in your car. And because there's so many fire pots, like every time you get home, there's a heap of things that need to be washed because you stink of fire pot, basically. And I forgot that I'd washed a heap of stuff and it was all dry, and I was putting all the clean jackets on my spare bed as they dried to hang them all up and put them back on the hooks in the hallway. And God damn it, never mind. I have enough warm stuff, but at least I know where that big yummy scarf is. I haven't lost it. I think it's definitely a puffer jacket kind of day. I've got this big yummy down-filled jacket. It's not waterproof. It's blue and it's a navy blue corduroy, but it's so bulky and snuggly and warm. Yay! Yay! Oh, it's getting worse. Weeds everywhere. I used to be really good with gardens and plants till I got ill. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because it is a lot of work. And I mean, the thing with gardening is you start weeding at one corner and work your way around. And by the time you get back to the corner where you started, you've got to go around again. But that's the whole thing about gardening. It's sort of just a guaranteed, constant work and projects activity. But I mean, I had a similar issue with when I dislocated my kneecap because I couldn't do anything down in the garden and I was just watching it get more and more feral. I'm so happy that I can do a little bit now, but I still can't do nearly as much as I was before my knee went. Yeah, health and chores, it's really hard. I mean, my one of before Dark Mofo, my most exciting day this winter was being able to vacuum my house for the first time. I mean, I had friends that would pop in and my sister and they'd run the vacuum around for me, which was awkward because I'm not very good at accepting help, and you get used to being self-sufficient when you live on your own. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always something on my kitchen bench, like a jar that I can't open or something heavy that I need moved. So whenever anyone else arrives, I'm like, I need a hand with this. And my neighbours, we all help each other out a bit with that sort of stuff too. But it was such a nice feeling to be able to just vacuum and mop myself again. I don't cope well with, I have to basically just sit on a couch and watch people clean my house for me. I didn't get them to do much because it was too uncomfortable for me. I mean, there's probably people in my life that would have happily just laid there watching Netflix while someone was vacuuming around them, but I'm not one of those people. I found it very awkward. And I just wanted my friends who were visiting to relax and just catch up with them and, enjoy the serenity. I didn't want them to be my maids. We go back and see what was going on in chat. It does sound like it's very hot for you guys. No chat etiquette. Oh, the ones that come in with all guns blaring. Revolting vitriol, yes. Yeah, the ones falsifying evidence for content, are they fabulous? A lot of comments end up just a bunch of windbags and defectives. You love when the wackadoos get put on blast? I've been on top chat. Yep, that's always a mistake. Katie Gallagher's the Minister of Finance, incumbent in Australia. Oh, I'll have to do some reading. I mean, I haven't been watching anything newsworthy for like 2 weeks. I've been blissfully ignorant, I have to say. I'm just putting some makeups. Been enjoying the Winter Festival and not having to think about world issues. Just been roaming the streets of Hobart with people I love who came from far and wide to participate in the Dark Mofo festivities. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been keeping a bit of an eye on The Guardian, which is the website I follow, but I haven't read anything. There may be something that I missed, but I'll have a look into it. I'm not sure what that's about, but I'll look into it. I mean, I don't really discuss politics on my channel, largely because I come from a political family, so I don't get enough politics in my spare time, let alone my downtime on YouTube talking about politics. I can't. I'll look at it, but I have no response, and I don't know anything about it. growing up with a dad who was in federal parliament, I could have named every single member of parliament, the electorate they represented, because we spent a lot of our childhood running around the halls of Parliament House in Canberra, and in King's Hall they had these huge, like, poster size sort of like flip boards, but sideways. You'd flip them sideways and they'd have a photo of the politician and their electorate, you know, the member for whatever. And then there'd be a whole heap of information about them, what state of Australia they were from and all that sort of stuff. And we were tiny. Well, I mean, we weren't tiny the whole time, but we didn't have a lot to do there. So one activity would be to go to King's Hall and learn about all the politicians. So when we were in the house, we'd be able to look down and go, oh, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so. So, yeah, there was a time in my life where I could have named every single member of parliament and which party they were from, their electorates, all, you know, a bit of their backgrounds. But these days, members of parliament just seem to come and go like, you know, there are people that you sort of just hear about them and then they're gone. There's resignations and sackings and such a different world. I'm so happy that my dad was a politician in the era of true statesmen and stateswomen, like really interesting characters from both sides with a shared interest in making this country a better place for everyone. These days, it's just so grubby. And that's how I got totally mofo'd. I have been mofoing. Yeah, and look, I'm sorry I didn't do lots of videos and stuff, but it was just, I don't know. I know people that probably, well, there are people on YouTube I know about who would probably turn on their camera and go wandering and do all this stuff for their subscribers, but I just was with my people who I absolutely love, you know. I mean, I had family members who came from far and wide. One of my cousins, the one I caught up with on Saturday with her boyfriend who I hadn't met yet, who's divine. And, you know, we were trying to work out the last time we'd actually seen each other, and it was about 5 years ago, which is just insane. And then I had a godchild here, I mean, an adult aged godchild who was here working. And then there's the usual crowd of people that come down every year from all over the country. It was just never ending. Like, my phone would just flash up and be like, we're here for Mofo. Do you want to catch up? I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. It's been great fun. But me just, you know, suddenly going, hey, hope you don't mind, but I'm going to just go live on YouTube. Because we're not comfortable having cameras shoved in our faces. I'm all Mofo'd out, both on YouTube and dark Mofo'd. I have a relative who has a political government position. I just play and refer, never to discuss politics. Figure I probably know nothing anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'll have a look if it's something worth discussing, but if it's just some politician being called out for being a liar, well, you know, that's almost a daily event in this country, so... UK political state in the same situation. Bunch of disreputable liars. I know you're doing Scout. But I had indicated that I would be doing a few things, but it turns out that I ended up with more people here than I was anticipating. My spare bedroom in the last 2 weeks has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. 9 different people in it. A couple of couples, mainly singletons, in 2 weeks. So do I have a giant pile of sheets to wash? And I did all the towels last night when I got home from the burning. Um, it's just been, I've literally gone home to sleep and do loads of washing and remake the spare bedroom before doing it all again. That's pretty much been, and feed Sunny. I had a night in town. I stayed in town one night with my uncle and auntie. We went to the winter feast and ate and drank everything. Um, and I stayed at their apartment. They don't actually live here, but they own an apartment here. And um, I got up really early to head home and give Sunny Bum breakfast. And her nose was, she was so out of sorts with me. But then she just followed me around like a little shadow for the rest of the weekend. Like she just wouldn't leave my side. But she wasn't thrilled. And to be honest, I don't like not being at home either. I mean, I do have to start to give myself an opportunity. Like one of the good things about catching up with my cousin on Saturday, she travels the world a lot with her job, but she's also got two absolutely beautiful cats, and she's besotted with them, and they're really gorgeous, gorgeous little floofs. But I actually said to her, how do you handle traveling so much and being away from them? Because Sunny and I have just been like, especially with COVID and everything, we've just ended up being joined at the hip, really. And Sunny gets very, well, I think, gets separation anxiety. And Mem said, well, I made a decision when I got them that I'd never let them interfere with my life and job as well. So, they were going to have to understand that there'd be house sitters and pet sitters, and at times, like while they were here for Mofo, they were in a cattery. But the benefit too is there's two of them, so they've still got each other to keep each other company. But yeah, she just sort of said I couldn't let them restrict my existence as well. Like we had to work out how to all coexist happily. But it's also, she got them as kittens and it's all they know. I find it's different when you rescue, the senior floofs, and especially like one, because Sunny, her notes said that she, wouldn't play well with others. So she was going to have to be a solo floof. And then it's just me. So we've sort of become a little bit codependent, I guess. And the thought of putting her in a cattery, I just can't. I mean, there's apparently some pretty good ones here, but yeah, the thought of traveling overseas for like a month and putting her in a cattery, I'd rather find someone to house sit and be there with her than do that. And there's a lot of house sitter, pet sitters down where I live. But, now we're sort of able to travel more and stuff. And I used to always go overseas at least once a year. So I'm sort of thinking I need to start to be a bit more comfortable with, going off on adventures and stuff and living my life again and not feeling huge guilt. I mean, I didn't feel guilt when I went to Singapore. And I had people going in the morning and then different people going in the evening to feed her, but she was there on her own overnight. I mean, she didn't die, I came back and she was bouncing around, but the way she can make me feel guilty after spending one night away from her, fucking little minx. All right, makeup's done. The politicians, like, real life's way more important. We catch up now. Exactly. But yeah, so I feel like Sunny has mastered the art of the guilt trip very well. And I mean, I got up super, super early. I mean, I didn't even make a coffee. I didn't stop and get a coffee. I had a bottle of water in the car and I just drove home, straight home. I think I was like at home, sort of by 7 a.m., considering there's a 40-minute drive from my uncle and auntie's place. Yeah, pack. Yeah. Yeah, the art of the guilt trip. And even though I renounced Catholicism at the age of 12, and I had to convince my paternal grandmother and a priest that my reasons for doing so were valid, and they actually did allow me to as an intense experience. But I still have that Catholic guilt, embedded in me, even though I bailed at 12 years old. But I mean, Biscuit was different because she had so many health issues and required a lot of medications and stuff. That I was never away from her for more than one night, and I'd be back in the morning to give her meds and so on. But Sunny's, she's perfected the art of the guilt trip. And she got so much attention from me and extra playtime and treats and you name it. Like, she got absolutely everything her sad face desired. But like, I've got a friends weekend coming up in a couple of weeks' time, a girls' weekend. Like, there's 5 of us going up the East Coast, up to um, Bay of Fires for 2 nights. That is real love. Wake up, no coffee, and head home. The Art of the Guilt Trip would be a good movie title. I know, but I mean, and this is where I need to be more assertive and go, actually, you're at home, you're warm, there was plenty of food. I put extra food in a little secret spot in my bedroom. So if she really was, distraught, she would have, and she found the bowl of extra treats. Like, they've got pretty impressive sense of smell. I mean, she hadn't eaten it all, but she'd found it because she's a really messy eater. And there were biscuits on the floor. Yeah, you'd be great aunties to come and sunny sit. But yeah, so I'm going away for a weekend. Like, we're all heading up to Bay of Fires on the Friday and coming back on the Sunday. And because of what's going on with my house, if my claim gets accepted, then Sunny and I need to move out. And I wasn't sure where the insurer was. I mean, it's so close now to us going away that I kind of feel that it'll just be easier to start the building work after that weekend away, because if Sunny and I had already been put, like if we'd had to move out and we're in an Airbnb or something that was unfamiliar, there's no way I would have left her alone. So I was going through the logistics of taking her with me to this place we're going to up on the East Coast, which makes me nervous as hell, because even though when I was bringing her home after rescuing her, she got out loose in the car and seemed quite happy, just perched on the passenger seat next to me and then curled up and went to sleep in the back seat and so on. Like, I'd have to have actually got like a cage to put her in the back of the car with a little bowl of water and little tiny rabbit-sized litter tray and so on, and then lifted all of that into the house, and then she basically would have just been in my bedroom, and I would have been able to like let her out to have a little play and so on at night with the door closed with me in there with her. But yeah, the weekend water and food bowls are fantastic, and I have been meaning to get them. I mean, I figured just going overnight, like I fed her dinner before I went into town, and then I was home feeding her breakfast, admittedly an hour and a half later than when she likes it. But You know, if I'd got home at lunchtime or even dinner, she would have been fine. But that's one of the things about getting a cat is you can leave them for weekends and they will survive as long as they've got plenty of food. Dogs are a bit different. Cats were, you know, one of my exes, Tim and I, we had, when I had Oliver, we'd go down like to these houses that we were renovating for the full weekend, and Oliver would be fine. You know, we'd get back on Sunday and he had eaten plenty of food. I mean, he was obviously happy to have us home and have some attention again, but oh, you don't know the house story, Ruth. Yeah, I've got a leak in the bathroom, under the bathroom floor. And because my house is on stilts, luckily now we've pulled away some chipboard or plyboard and insulation, but the insurer has a clause that excludes leaks emanating from the shower recess, which is where it is. So they were very quick to tell me they have an exclusion clause, and I'm thinking it's not going to get accepted, but they're still waiting on more information from the builder who did the inspection. And they requested it back on the 25th of May, and he hasn't responded yet. So I'm just in a holding pattern with that. I've also had to have a pipe unblocked, a septic outlet pipe, which was overflowing, and that was lovely. So that happened last week in the middle of all of this dark mofo. It's just been never ending. Yeah, pets are good fun, but they can be very limiting if you like to travel and stuff. I'm on the shit list when I can't feed them because of medical, but I feed them immediately when we come home. They change it. Yeah, look, Sonny, I mean, look, I should have stopped and got a coffee. It would have been a much nicer drive home because I had a shitty hangover. Like, I drank more the night I was with Patty and Lou at Winterfeast than I've drunk all year. So I was pretty rusty, not feeling great. The coffee would have been divine, but no, got to get home to that spoilt little floof. But I think this weekend that I'm going away, I've got a neighbour who will be able to go over and feed her dinners on Friday and Saturday and breakfasts on Saturday and Sunday. But I think it's good for her to get used to having some of those things happening because I do travel and I'm planning a trip to Japan, and when I go to Japan, I'll actually get like a house pet sitter. There's a lot down where I live that do that, and they're pretty awesome. I mean, you can even get people just to go in and feed your pets twice a day and play with them for like $30 a day or $20 a day. My place is pretty cute though. Like, people are always happy to house sit. And I really think at the end of the day, that's more like Sunny's actual needs in terms of food and water and so on. That's all taken care of. She just likes company. You're still trying to get a plumber since the beginning of the pandemic. You're convinced your pipe's leak. I hope they allow it on your insurance. Well, I mean, I put the claim in March, so, you know, I mean, it's not a life-threatening situation. I haven't fallen through the floor. But if they don't cover me, then I'm going to have to do sort of a patch job until I can access my superannuation in 3.5 years. And then I'll do a full bathroom reno. So I'm just going to have to live with a bit of a patch job for 3 years. But it's doable. I've already found a creative builder and plumber who can help me. But yeah, nothing like Ruth's weight. That's insane. Yeah, Japan's a bucket list. It's the only country I've got left on my must-see, must-go-to. Yeah, well, that's what I keep saying. With the girl, I've become quite good friends with the girl in the insurance company because I'm like, well, hopefully there'll be an answer soon because I'm in a holding pattern at the moment, and I've been told the bathroom floor and the support beams and everything are okay for now, but if they're not down the track, I literally will fall through the bathroom floor and down into my carport, stark naked, in the middle of winter. Nobody needs to see that. But the way one of my actual plumber and I pulled out all the insulation that was soaking up the water and removed the plyboard, like the water, if the shower does leak or if the pipe under the shower leaks, it runs straight down onto the ground now. At least it's not pooling under the house, which was of great concern. But yeah, it might be a case of just a creative little patch job, a couple of new floor support beams being put in, do the grouting and sealing around the drain for the next 3.5 years. And then when I can access my super, I'll, not that I want my super for retirement, but at least there's a chunk of money there that I can do a full bathroom reno if I need to. But ideally, the insurer will accept the claim. Sonny and I will probably have to move out for a couple of months. There's a lot of pet-friendly Airbnbs down where I live, and we'll go on a little adventure for a couple of months and end up with a completely new bathroom and no more issues. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is a patch job that will keep the bathroom functioning until I can fully replace it and fix it. And the thing is, like, I probably, after 10 years in the house, I probably would have been ready for a bathroom update. I think redoing your bathroom is a nice way to make you feel like you've got a new house, really. But I just don't want to do it after 8.5 years or 8 years. You had a guy come out and charge you lots, never came back. The next guy had a massive heart attack. The rest never answer. You're on a blacklist. Look, I actually had troubles getting someone to do the overflow pipe. The first people that I booked were going to come down the next day. They were a no-show. So I rang the following day and just said, hey, look, I'm not putting any pressure on you guys, but they literally have to drive past my place to get to their homes after work. But just wondering if you're able to come down again today, because if not, I'm working the following day. If I need to be at home, the next day I can do it is next Wednesday, so let me know. Anyway, they said, yep, no worries, and they never got back to me. So then I rang this other guy who'd been referred to me because I put a post in our community group asking for anyone that had a drain machine. And I rang this guy and he said, look, I don't have a drain machine anymore, but I'm going to put you onto this guy, Luke. So then I rang Luke and Luke came down the next day. 10 minutes later, he'd fixed it. He'd also cleaned up. Like, I'd been hosing down the area where the overflow was because every type of water that left the house was coming up out of this pipe, but it didn't stink or anything. It was quite interesting because there was toilet stuff in the mix. But he even cleaned up. He got a shovel and dug up sort of all the crap literally around the pipe and put it all in this bucket, this huge sort of wheelie bin that he had in the back of his van, and then had soil that he then packed back down around. It was pretty amazing. And I got the bill yesterday. It was $200. Ruth, just a suggestion, you can contact your local fire department. The firefighters are so kind and will help you find a plumber or get the job done. They don't like to see them. That's not a bad idea. The trick is to get good people. Like, now that I know this Luke guy, and then Luke said to me, oh, you probably should get your septic pumped in the next month or two as well. And he gave me a card of the person that he recommends. So I've already booked that in. But yeah, I much prefer using, I do live in a really good community, and you can put things in the community page asking for recommendations and, and say, I really would love to use somebody local. And then you get like, heaps of responses and you just work your way through the list. And then once you get the one that comes out, so Luke identified the need to get my septic pumped again in the next couple of months. So he put me onto these people and, I rang them the same day and booked them in for 2 weeks. I just need to get paid. I need a couple of pay packets that I'm not taking great chunks of money out of, because things like replacing that computer and stuff, that wasn't cheap. Yeah, apparently YouTube's got super glitches happening at the moment. Like heaps and heaps and heaps of glitches. Might log off shortly, guys. I already know today is going to be vile because last week I only had to work. We had a long weekend last week. Last Monday was the Queen's birthday, long weekend, although they call it the King's birthday now. And so I only had to work Tuesday last week. So I already know my diary for today is going to be chock-a-block. Chock-a-block. All right, where are my work keys? There they are. Tea bags. My fire department are all volunteers. I bet one of them is one of the plumbers. They're really in short supply around here. They book you a year in advance for a wash and change. I might ask a local first responder / undertaker / town councillor. He may be able to find me one. You don't have like a community page on Facebook? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Facebook, but the community page we have is so good. You're married to a volunteer firefighter. Yeah, there's a lot of, and StreamYard too. So if it's not YouTube, it's StreamYard. It's one or the other. I had fun doing batshit the other night with Odin. That was good fun. Odin is hilarious. Finn was exhausted, so I was so glad to have Odie and all of their lively energy. I think that shit's Thursday morning this week. I can't remember. It's in my diary. It's a 10-year anniversary of my dad's death today, too. 10 years. I can't believe it. Like, it blows my mind that my mum, her anniversary earlier this year was 23 years. Like, that just is insane. Yeah, it was a good one, wasn't it? Odie's a hoot. Odie's so smart, too. Like, and funny, and we're very similar. I mean, I've known Odie since Odie was 6 weeks old. But yeah, we're very like-minded. Same sense of humour, and I used to go up and stay with them, and Odie would just be like, "Thank God, there's a voice of reason. Got somebody else that can tell my mum she's being a dickhead." You've been thinking about your parents all day? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Well, it's not funny, but it's funny how we have these moments, and I always think of you too, Samantha, especially in January. But I find the anniversaries, like, people kind of expect you to fall apart. I fall apart on the days I least expect it. Like, it's more of a day of reflection and My brother and sister and I always rummage through old family photo albums and find fun photos of mum and dad and send them. So, like, I've got a couple of photos of dad that I found that we just share with each other. And if we're not able to catch up on the day, the next time we do, we have a little toast to them and have their favourite drink. Well, my sister's coming to stay tomorrow night, so we're going to do a little toast to Mickey tomorrow night. Oh, the first name was highly recommended. Thank you, Scout. No, Odin's mum is a hippie, so there's no god. Well, but weirdly, Odin's Sani. So Odin's actually got the name of two gods, a Norse god and then a Hindu god. But yeah, the equivalent of a godchild, yes. Yeah, Mother's Day is the prick for me too. It's the worst day of the year for me. Oh, hi, Doodle Brown. Mother's Day is always the worst for me, even worse than Father's Day. I know Father's Day is later in the year. Like, I know you guys have just had Father's Day in the States, but or is it Father's Day today, even for some of you, maybe? Mother's Day really has always been a real struggle for me, and I ended up being an ambassador for an event on Mother's Day in Australia called the Mother's Day Classic, which is a walk or run, both. I mean, you can do like an extreme run or a cruisy run or a walk, and it raises money for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Mum died of breast cancer. Oh, thanks, Doodle. I use lots of different cookbooks. I don't know which one you're speaking of, but I'll be doing more again now that the winter festival is over, but I'm going to head into the office. Yeah, Odin is the god of war, poetry, knowledge, and death. Very powerful Norse god. And then Sani is the Hindu god, I think, of knowledge as well, possibly. Thanks for hanging out, Grooverinis. I will see you all again at some point. But yeah, I'm completely dark mofo'd out, but I'm also YouTube mofo'd out. I really think they need to. I know that Bullhorn Betty is suing. I don't know whether she's got any hope in hell of having a successful lawsuit, but I think, like, it's one thing for these creators to call out people that are being irresponsible and potentially interfering with the course of justice, which we do on the Sleuths and Smooth Criminals channel. But it's another for these channels that are just going live day after day after day after day for, 5-6 hours on end, just ripping Bullhorn Betty to shreds. Like, you can't be sitting on your panels criticising her for doing over 100 lives about Brian Koberger when the very channel and panel that you're on has done over 100 lives about Bullhorn Betty. It's hypocritical. And as for the thousands of people that roll into all of these different channels to hear the exact same critiques of Bullhorn Betty day in, day out, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? But on that cheery note, I'll look into the Katie Gallagher stuff for Joman. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. And I'm doing great, Doodle. Lovely to see you right at the very end. And Emily Flotilla has given me a blanket. Say hi to Doodle Brown for me every time you pop in. So I don't know why you guys can't see each other in the chat, but hopefully that'll get sorted out. And I'll see you all again very soon. Stay groovy, everyone.